Good morning, Lindo High School senior parents, senior students. This is Principal Jeremy Chillick. I wanted to get a chance this morning to reach out to you about graduation and those things that we're going to need to do leading up to it to make sure that we're successful in it. The first thing I want to talk about is just to thank everyone involved in this from the district level on up to allow us to have an outdoor graduation ceremony to celebrate our seniors in the right way. It's going to be something that we're really looking forward to, and we hope that you're going to make sure we follow these guidelines that we're asking you to follow in order to make sure that we have it as successful as we possibly can. So I'm going to go over a couple of those things here so that you guys know what to expect in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully it's as clear as we possibly can make it so that everybody will abide by those, and we can have that be a successful ceremony for our seniors. The first thing I want to talk about is graduation date and time. We're going to have it May 29th at Eagle Stadium at 8 o'clock. So the original date is back on, and we're going to plan to have it on that night and be able to do it at that time. So May 29th at 8 o'clock at Eagle Stadium. And at the same time, just to talk a little bit about the guidelines that the governor has given schools that we have to follow and abide by to be able to have this, there's a couple of specific ones that we want to make sure of. The first one is we've been asked to make sure we have the social distancing of 6 feet at the stadium. And we'll do the best we can in the stands and on the field to do that and abide by that. The second thing is we have to have tickets for every individual that attends graduation. So each senior student will be given 5 tickets for their family members or guests to attend graduation, and must have a ticket to be able to enter graduation on May 29th. With those tickets, we're going to have a date, May 22nd. I'll talk a little bit more about it in a second. On May 22nd, we're going to have the ability to give those tickets out. Each individual that attends graduation must have filled out a medical questionnaire form prior to getting a ticket to graduation. So May 22nd is we're going to be able to give those out. And through that time, the next couple of weeks, we ask that if you're attending graduation, make sure that your senior, you have filled out questionnaires on each individual that will be getting a ticket to attend. Those questionnaires can be picked up at admin at the administration building, Monday through Friday, 8 to 12 any day. Also can be done through a Google form, then a Google link that we're going to put on our website and send out next week as well. So either of those will work. On May 22nd, our nurse and some staff members here at Lindo High School will be here to be able to check off those that have completed those forms online through the Google link we'll send out, and have the opportunity to be able to check you off that way. And if you have paper copies, you can turn them in that day to our nurse as well, and we'll be able to give you your tickets on that day, having had those questionnaires turned in. So the questionnaires must be turned in. That's a part of the state guidelines we've been given in order for us to do that. The second thing I want to talk about real quickly is the date of May 22nd and our expectations for that day for our seniors. May 22nd at Lindo High School on this campus, we're going to have our iPad turn in and our checklist in order to clear our senior students of any of our equipment for the school or any items, fines, or library books that we need from them. So seniors on May 22nd from 9 to 12 or from 1 to 4 will be here. Either of those time frames, those timelines will be set up and ready to go in front of the lecture room hallway here. We're going to ask that you come up, seniors physically come up. You can come with a parent or you can come by yourself. Turn in your iPad brick and cord. We'll have the opportunity to turn that in. That must be turned in order for you to be able to get your tickets to graduation. iPad check in that day, as well as if you have library books or any other school items need to be checked in as well. Once you get cleared that day on May 22nd, once we clear you on those items and we've gotten everything for the school that we need from you, you'll be allowed to turn in your medical questionnaire forms, or we'll check those off, like I said, on the Google form. Our nurse will have that. So if you have those forms at that point in time, we'll be able to give you your tickets that day. So May 22nd, 9 to 12, 1 to 4, you can visit the high school right here in front of the lecture room hallway. And once we have all of those things, the iPad brick and cord, as well as the other things we ask of as far as the library books or etc., you can turn in your medical questionnaire forms that day, and we will have your tickets ready to be picked up as well. And on those tickets, they'll designate what side of the stadium that you're going to be sitting on as far as parents, where your student is closest to. We'll have both the visitor and the home side open, and we'll have a grid available next week that you can see where your student specifically is sitting. And on your tickets, we're going to have which side of the stadium that we're going to ask you to sit on, parents and family and friends, in order to be closest to your student for the best view possible and to maintain the guidelines the governor has given us. So that will be given out on May 22nd. for all of you. Seniors, you'll also be given honors cords. Those of you that have those to designate at graduation, you'll be able to pick those up on May 22nd as well. So be prepared for that on that day. But as I said, physically, we need you to come that day, seniors. And really one of the main things we're going to do also is check to make sure your dress code is going to be able to be in line on graduation night a week later. So May 22nd, when you come, we'll be able to tell you, whether or not what you need to do to be ready to go on graduation night, May 29th. Again, May 29th graduation night, when we meet at 6:30 at ECC and check you in, if you're not in dress code, we will not argue with you. You will be sent home and not be able to participate in graduation. So I want you to know that up front. Be prepared for that one night to make sure that you're in dress code, and we will have that on this video as well as sent out next week from Miss Ramsey on a PowerPoint, exactly what dress code for students is required at graduation. Make sure on May 29th you are in dress code when you arrive, or you will be sent home and not allowed to graduate. And I say that as much importance as possible because we want this graduation ceremony to be formal in a traditional sense as we've always had, and a celebration of you, and not have an issue on that night. So do us a favor, do your part, make sure that you follow through on those graduation guidelines as far as dress code is concerned. The next thing, as I said, May 29th, let me talk a little bit about seniors graduation night and your role there. By 6:30 on May 29th, by 6:30 p.m. we need you to report to the ECC Early Childhood Campus right next to the stadium. We'll have staff members there. We'll split you into rooms, go over the criteria in terms of graduation, our expectations, and then what your role is in the ceremony. Normally we would have a graduation practice. The state will not allow us to have graduation rehearsals this year. So in order to follow through with those guidelines, we're going to have to meet earlier at 6:30 on May 29th at ECC to go over those guidelines and things with you for our ceremony to make sure that it is done in the right way. So seniors have to be at ECC, Early Childhood Campus, on May 29th by 6:30, and we'll guide you from that point. Parents, let me talk a little bit about graduation night for you. Gates will open at our stadium at 7 o'clock p.m. You'll be allowed to enter at that point in time. Tickets will be again required. We'll have ticket takers there. They'll be designated which side we need you to sit on. And so the tickets will have that written on them when you pick them up, visitor or home side, and you'll report to that side of the stadium and be allowed to enter at 7 o'clock. The seats will be, they'll be in groups of 5 in the stadium. And again, these are all guidelines our governor has given us and we have to follow in order to have this graduation. They'll be in sections of 5, and they'll be basically first come, first serve. So you'll be able to get there and pick the grouping of seats that you want to have and go forward with in the graduation ceremony at that time. So 7 o'clock gates open. Tickets are required to get in, and those tickets are required for anybody 0 to 100 years old. Okay, every individual coming into the stadium has to have a ticket at that point. We will also be sending out, as I said earlier, a seating chart for you guys next week at some point. Miss Ramsey's working on that, and we'll get that to you to show you the grid on the field of where your senior is going to be seated during the ceremony, to give you the best opportunity to know and sit in an area where you can best view them. So we'll send that out next week, give you the opportunity to be able to see where they'll be seated on the field. So graduation night, that's the responsibilities there. And the last thing, parents, we won't allow anyone on the field after graduation. When we finish graduation and we complete it, seniors will be exited through 4 exits at the stadium closest to you. And at that point, graduation will end and no one will be allowed on the field. And we appreciate you understanding that aspect as well, as again, these are all guidelines we're trying to follow from the state that we've been given a directive of. Parents, we want to make sure that you know also that because of the limited amount of availability as far as those attending graduation in person, that our campus, Ms. Morrow and her staff are going to live stream graduation. So we're going to have the ability for those not attending to watch it live through a link. So a couple of points about that. There'll be multiple cameras at the stadium that night set up to be able to view every single graduate walking across the stage, every speaker, every speech, so that they can have as much of the activity as possible in terms of the actual ceremony. So that they're doing an outstanding job of preparing for that and making sure that everybody that wants to view graduation can do so in real time. We'll simulcast graduation on Facebook Live and also through a link that will be provided in the next couple of weeks. That link will be placed on our district and high school website, as well as sent out through social media. So we'll get that out in every facet that we can, so that you guys can plan for the link to those that need to watch it outside of the actual stadium. You should be able to view that link on any device, and they'll be available on those websites and through social media in the next 2 weeks. So be looking for the link, and for those that can't attend, they can watch that live through simulcast and live stream there. So parents and students and seniors, just a couple of last things. Again, we're going to do what we can to practice social distancing on the field as been asked by our governor and dictated to us. Once graduation ends, again, students will be dismissed from 4 exits, and we will not allow anyone on the field at that point after graduation. Normally, diplomas are picked up by students right after graduation. This year, just due to circumstances, we're going to mail diplomas to each student. So parents, it's really important for us that in the next couple of weeks, you check on Skyward to make sure that your correct mailing address is listed on Skyward as the address you want it sent to. Help us by checking that on Skyward. If it's not correct, you can send an email to me, and I will help you get that corrected to where you need it to be, to where you need that diploma sent. But we're going to mail those diplomas, so help us please by making sure that your mailing address is correct on Skyward in the next couple of weeks. The last thing I want to say, just again, seniors, this is not the way we all wanted this year to end, but we're going to do the best we can to celebrate you on May 29th, to have some closure to your senior year and all you've done at Lindale High School. I will say that graduation is a privilege. It's not a right. A lot of schools I know of and have talked to aren't doing graduation this way, and because there's a lot of work that goes into it and a lot of things that are being asked of us to do it this way. But I will say I think it's something that's extremely important, which is the reason why we're doing it here at Lindale High School. And I'm just asking you to make sure that we're following these guidelines that have been given to us from the state, so that we can do so in the right manner and have that be a traditional, reverent ceremony as we've had in the past. So students, I'm going to ask you again, make sure that May 29th, when you come to the early childhood campus at 6:30 p.m., you make sure you're in dress code as we've asked, because we will not argue with you. We're going to just ask you to go home if you're not in that dress code or within those guidelines we're asking you to be. So make sure for us that you're doing those things we asked when you show up at 6:30. And on May 22nd, make sure you're in person for us, and we'll get all that cleared out, have the medical questionnaires ready, and we'll get your tickets to you for that night. So again, last thing, thank you parents, thank you students for your patience during this time, your flexibility, and we're really, really looking forward and excited about our graduation ceremony on May 29th. If you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me through email, and we will send out more information with the grid and those things to follow this next week. So thank you.
Hello, this is Stan Surratt, Proud Superintendent of Lindale ISD, and want to talk to you about our graduation ceremony on May 29th at 8 p.m. at Eagle Stadium. I know there's been some confusion about it. The governor came out with executive orders where he said only graduations can only happen after June 1st, or only before June 1st. And so we made plans and made our adjustment, moving our date, and then the governor changed his executive order where we can have graduation on May 29th. That's the first day graduations can happen across Texas. So fortunately, we can have it on the date we originally scheduled. So sorry about the confusion on that. We are following the executive order and strictly following those guidelines from the Texas Education Agency and the governor's office, which does limit the number of tickets that we can have. We can give each graduate so we can do proper social distancing in our stadium. We will seat on both sides. Parents and family members will know which side of the field your senior will be sitting. So you will sit in those bleachers, either on the visitor side or the home side. And that is limited to 5 tickets per graduate. And also, part of the requirement is we do a screening process for people attending the event. And so there will be a medical questionnaire that must be filled out the week before graduation, or the week early in that week of graduation. And so we'll do that screening, and if the people pass the screening, they'll be issued a ticket. And so there'll be a lot more information coming from the high school principal, Mr. Chillick, to seniors of how that process will work. But we're excited about our graduation ceremony. It's a great community event. And the good thing about it for people who can attend is we will be streaming this live. And so anybody can watch it, and we'll be sharing that link for that live stream. Seniors, we take our graduation ceremony very seriously. and we will have strict guidelines for you. We will be in dress code. There will not be any discussion on that. And so please take care of your business on that. We're going to have a great ceremony. The class of 2020, it's an amazing class, and we're going to have an amazing graduation ceremony to salute you and honor you and your parents. They've been a big part of this journey for many, many years, so they need to be honored as well. And seniors, don't forget, we still have 3 weeks of school left, so take care of your business in the classroom. We don't want any of you falling short, not being able to walk graduation night. And so take care of that business. But we are so proud of this class. It's been a great senior class. They have won us many district championship, regional, and even state championship. And some of them have been recognized at the national level. So just a wonderful senior class. We're so proud of what you've accomplished, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to accomplish in the future. So we're going to have a great graduation ceremony to honor you. It's going to be a great night for Lindale ISD and the Lindale community. Have a great day. Go Eagles!